Oh, man, come on, get it. Hurry. Oh, damn, what is this? What is going on? Just go back. Yeah, that's more like it. This is the Short Sports Show with your host, Daniel Short. Oh, really? That's what I'm going to get? Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is August 10th, 2016, and we are back on schedule for Wednesdays. And I'm excited. We have a jam-packed show, college football news, and the NFL, all for you guys. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be an amazing show. So as you guys know, if you're brand new to the show, thank you for joining us. For the people that have been here for a while, you know that I've just started, because we just started practice. The first week of high school football. I'm an intern at my local high school. And, you know, now that some of the coaches do know, and they might be listening to this intro of the show, it has been fun so far. It's been very fast. It's only going to get faster, which is could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, who knows. But it's been an awesome time so far. And I never thought I would wake up sore in the morning, but I am. So there's that. Anyways, we're going to start talking about some college football news first. Of course, if you guys did not see the announcement made yesterday, there's a new show. And I don't know exactly if I should call it a show, if I should call it a segment. It's different. It's Fourth and Short. That is going to be the new thing. It's only on YouTube. It's a YouTube exclusive. So if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go make sure that you do that. Link is in the description down below. YouTube.com/user/The Short Sports Show. It is going to be nothing but college football and the NFL and even high school football news across the country. And each week, every Saturday morning, you guys will get a video that just goes some stuff from the show, some stuff that is extra that happened, you know, after the show and whatnot that I wanted to add in. It's gonna be awesome. I absolutely love it. I have everything set up for it, and now it's just putting it all together come Saturday. So be on the lookout for that. And again, this wouldn't be possible without you guys. Fourth and Short. It is awesome. It's exciting, and that's only one of two different shows, segments, whatever you want to call it. I still haven't found a name for it. That will be a part of the Short Sports Show overall. We will have another one that I cannot say just yet. It'll be basketball only, as my contract with the NBA and broadband TV. You know, the whole purpose of it was to create a basketball type show, and I'm looking forward to it. But again, I got basketball season. We got until October, so probably announce it early October. Late September, we'll announce it. And I'm still getting some other things. There's still some things I got to work out and something I want to add, but who knows? So I'm excited. Thank you guys so much. Let's go ahead and start with the show. College football news first, as always. And we kind of talked about this before, but there's obviously some new part of it. Now, Charlie Strong has announced that he will name the Texas starting quarterback here pretty soon. Now, whether he opts for freshman Shane Buechele or Tyrone Swoops or Gerard Hurd, he's got to get it right. I mean, there's so much criticism of him since he's gotten there, basically. He has to get this one right. There is no, you know, I wanted to go ahead and throw Shane out there because he was a young guy. He was looking good in spring, and you know, maybe we should have gone with Tyrone Swoops. Maybe we should have gone with Gerard Hurd. No. Got to get it right, and it's got to be all the way through, unless injury, of course. Now, Shane, he looks like he is the leader. He's had a strong performance in the spring drills, but Swoops and Hurd are both former starters, and they're having their chance, of course, with a new offensive coordinator in Sterling Gilbert. Now, if Shane were to start, it would be the first start or biggest home start for a Texas freshman quarterback since Colt McCoy led the number 2 Longhorns against the number 1 Ohio State in 2006, which that one didn't end so well because they got Notre Dame coming up here pretty soon, September 4th. They do host them this year, though. Now, Strong and Gilbert, they call Shane a natural leader, strong competitor, gifted athlete, but they're reluctant to anoint him anytime soon. Quote, this is what Charlie Strong said, each one of them, they're different. They all bring something different to the game, which is true. Now, Shane, I don't see him as the mobile type quarterback, but he can still run with the ball. But he's a throw first. Tyrone Swoops, he's more of a guy who's just kind of like Blake Bell was at Oklahoma, just the bulldozer, and not much of a thrower. Gerard Hurd, he's that shifty runner as well, but can he go through his progressions? Now, Charlie Strong is 11-14 heading into his third season with Texas, and Texas hasn't had a consecutive losing season since 1954 through 56. They could be heading in that direction right now. Who will start for Texas? Will it be Shane? Will it be Tyrone Swoops? Will it be Gerard Hurd? My money is to go on Shane. I think they're just going to go ahead and do it. I don't believe in Gerard Hurd getting passing game down. I don't see him. I don't see it in him. Tyrone Swoops, possibly being the senior guy, being the older guy, they might just say, hey, he's matured. He's a guy to go ahead and go. And then you got Shane, who's kind of just already somewhat polished. I think they go with Shane. Let me know in the comment section down below where you see. Also, Texas is suspended. They're going to lose a weapon. They suspended wide receiver DeAndre McNeil indefinitely for violation of team rules. Now, McNeil was a sophomore and played in 10 games last year. Didn't record a catch, but every weapon Texas needs, especially in this offense. They're going to go fast up-tempo, and when they sub, they're going to need fresh guys out there. Now they lose another wide receiver. So the team that is going to be playing Texas in September 4th is Notre Dame, and Notre Dame also has a quarterback situation, but it's really not a bad situation. It's more of a really good quarterback situation, if one. Now, Brian Kelly isn't ruling anything out when it comes to starting between Deshaun Kaiser or Malik Zaire as a Fighting Irish starting quarterback. Speaking on campus Friday, one day before Notre Dame opened fall camp, Kelly did not want to go too far ahead of himself when discussing who could take the starting snap September 4th at Texas. Quote, I haven't resisted any temptation, to be honest with you. All I can tell you is we're going to let both of them compete, and we think we'll have a starter for you. But I don't know what will happen during the year. During the year, there might be a lull in the game where I feel like, all right, the other guy's practicing well, we'll play him. I don't know. End quote. Now, Kaiser, is a redshirt sophomore, while Zaire is a redshirt junior. Now, Zaire is back at full health after breaking his right ankle in week 2 at Virginia, which was a crazy game, and which gave Kaiser, who led the comeback win in a moment's notice, en route to an 8-3 start record as a starting quarterback. Now, Zaire, he's 3-0 as a starter, including a 19 for 22, 313-yard performance in last year's opener against Texas. Now, Kaiser completed 63% of his passes last season for 284 yards and 21 touchdowns. Now, also had 10 interceptions, adding 520 yards rushing and 10 yards on the ground. This one, I'm not making a prediction on this one. This one is too tough to call. Not even Notre Dame fans know who to go with, because you have two really, really good quarterbacks, and you really can't go wrong with either one of them. I'm not picking one. It's going to be interesting to see. I wouldn't be surprised if both of them end up playing against Texas. I'm not predicting an injury. I'm not predicting one of them doing bad. I just think, just like what Brian Kelly said, that if there's a lull in the game, if something is the game's moving too slow and the offense is not really moving the chains, that maybe the other one steps right in. And I think it's going to be like that maybe for the first 2-3 weeks until they finally feel comfortable with one quarterback. And it might be a 2 to 3 week in-season process, because these guys are really good and none of them could really afford making a mistake. Other quarterback news, we got 2 more quarterback news. It's all been quarterbacks. Big teams are looking at their quarterback situation. Now, USC head coach Clay Helton said Thursday he'll announce the starting quarterback August 20th, the day after the school's Salute to Troy event. That would give redshirt junior Max Brown or redshirt freshman Sam Darnold, the two quarterbacks competing for the job, 2 weeks to prepare for the September 3rd opener against the big dog, Alabama. Not the year USC wants to play Alabama. Alabama also, they have a quarterback competition going on as well, but Alabama's Alabama. They haven't had a good quarterback since Greg McElroy, and they've still got the job done. Now, USC, you lose your quarterback off to the NFL draft and to the Browns, who I don't know why they selected him so high, but we won't get into that. Now, Helton, he echoed previous statements he made after spring practice that if he had to name a starter, Brown would win the job. But that there wasn't enough separation between the two to make a final decision, hence why he says August 20th is when we'll go ahead and name one. That leaves 17 scheduled practices remaining before Helton names a starter. 17 chances for both Max Brown and Sam Darnold to come out on top and win the competition. I don't feel confident in either of these guys. It's not going to be pretty. The Alabama USC game might be another blowout like Alabama versus Michigan was in the Cowboy opening. Remember that? Cowboy Classic to open up the season. We thought maybe Shoelace Robinson, he could get the job done. And yeah, what was it? 41-0 around halftime, somewhere around that. Absolute blowout. And I think it might be the same thing this year. Last bit of not college football news, but of quarterback talk, and that's TCU head coach Gary Patterson, who just received an extension, which is awesome, through 2022. He has a deadline in mind for deciding his quarterback battle between Kenny Hill and Foster Sawyer. Now, Patterson said Wednesday during TCU's preseason media day, Hill announced the starter around 10 days before Horned Frogs season opener against South Dakota State. Quote, if it's before then, it's because it becomes very obvious who it is. Then it'll be before then. You have to name a guy about 9 or 10 days out. Can't go any later than that. End quote. Now, Patterson said after his coaching staff traditionally breaks from fall camp and shifts to his attention to the first game plan on Wednesday before his season opening week, which would be August 24th, my birthday, that it gives Hill and Sawyer 3 weeks to prove who is a better candidate to replace former Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, Trevon Boykin. Now, a lot of people remember Kenny Hill and maybe even call him Kenny Trill. While I was at Texas A&M, he opened up the first 5 weeks for Texas A&M a few years ago, became a Heisman dark horse, and led Texas A&M to a 5-0 record and was looking pretty good as a freshman. Now, he ended up transferring after some things have happened, and he needed a new start, needed a new place, right? And the crazy thing is, it's not like he just came to TCU because it's, what TCU's done over several years. I mean, when it came down to his recruiting day, I remember it because he was at Southlake, Corpus Christi, Southlake Carroll, and I was wanting Kenny Hill very badly. I was down to TCU, Texas A&M, and I think another school. Obviously, he chose Texas A&M, so he had some love for TCU not too long ago, and now he's finally here. He had to sit out last season, but was named the Big 12's preseason newcomer of the year by the conference media last month. But TCU coaches have not named him the frontrunner. Now, Sawyer, on the other hand, is a redshirt sophomore who started one game last season and is entering his third year in the program, says he and Hill will support each other no matter who merges as a starter. Quote, I'm just focused on the team and the task at hand, and that's to win championships, end quote. Now, TCU offensive coordinator quarterbacks coach Sonny Cumbie said the battle between Hill and Sawyer is 50-50 in his mind and is closer than many might think. Patterson said TCU's battle will be decided by how each quarterback performs in scrimmage situations. Co-offensive coordinator Doug Meacham says he is confident his players are comfortable being led by either passer. So, I think in a lot of people's mind, it's going to be Kenny Hill. Obviously, by the Big 12 conference media, they believe it's also going to be Kenny Hill, and for good reason. I mean, what he did at Texas A&M and running this offense, and last season when Foster Sawyer was in, didn't really do that good of a job. And honestly, he might have cost us the game against Oklahoma. He had one big-time touchdown in the first half, but also threw 3 first-half interceptions, which thankfully our defense were able to slow down Oklahoma. But if Boykin was in, maybe those 3 interceptions don't happen. I know, woulda, coulda, shoulda, whatever. But it is interesting to see that Sawyer's this far in it. Maybe he's matured. I mean, a lot of people, when it was Trevon Boykin and Matt Jokel 2 years ago, I had Jokel winning it just because he was from this offense, right? He's the bigger guy, he's more experienced, and he played better in the time he actually did play, while Trevon Boykin struggled. Next thing you know, Trevon Boykin becomes Boykin that we know and has been TC's best quarterback. Crazy how things work. Can Foster Sawyer be that guy? I don't know. I like Kenny Hill. I hope it's Kenny Hill. But obviously, I want the quarterback who's going to lead TC to a national championship to win in this battle, whoever that might be. We'll just have to see. Auburn. We'll talk about a little SEC news. Just this quick thing because who wants to hear SEC? If you want to hear SEC, go to ESPN. Auburn's depleted backfield took another blow when head coach Gus Malzahn dismissed top running back Javon Robinson from the team. A source said Robinson was dismissed for repeatedly missing classes and meetings and for his continued inattention to detail in everything. Malzahn said he had kicked Robinson, Auburn's top returning rusher, off the team Wednesday before Tigers' first practice of preseason camp. Now, Robinson came on strong last season and ran for 639 yards and 3 touchdowns. Leading rusher Peyton Barber left early for the NFL draft, and he had a story to tell as well, but sadly, he went undrafted. And also, number 3 runner Rock Thomas transferred to FCS program Jacksonville State. Now, the Tigers, who opened September 3rd against defending ACC champion Clemson, added former Baylor signee Cam Martin this summer after he was granted release from his scholarship, and he could be a guy who steps in immediately as well. So, it's a weird situation for Auburn, but it's not like the first time an Auburn player's gotten in trouble. It happens every year, multiple players. So they should be able to bounce back from this. Now, I do have a quick, I hope it's quick, and it's not a rant, and it's giving you information, but at the same time, this is a little ridiculous. Hear me out. Several LGBT advocacy groups are urging the Big 12 not to admit BYU as an expansion school, according to a letter. The news was first reported by Fox Sports, and in that letter, dated August 8th, Athlete Alley, a nonprofit organization that raises LGBT awareness in sports, sent a letter to Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowsley and to express its concern about the Big 12 possibly getting BYU to join, which is owned and operated by, well, BYU is, by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Quote, as organizations committed to ending homophobia, biphobia, and transphobia, both on and off the field of play, we are deeply troubled by this possibility. We feel it would be extremely problematic to include BYU in your conference expansion, end quote. Now, Athlete Alley suggests BYU would, quote, be inconsistent with the Big 12 membership values, end quote. We're going to get onto that real quickly. BYU Athletic Director Tom Holmey issued a statement Tuesday on Twitter saying that the school welcomes, quote, LGBT players, coaches, and fans, end quote. Now, Ashlyn Johnson, a spokesperson for Athlete Alley, told ESPN that the letter was also sent to 10 of the Big 12 university presidents, faculty reps, and senior women's advisors. Johnson said the letter was prompted by the language of BYU's honor code and not a specific incident of discrimination. That's one thing that should stand out right there. But let's continue. The Athlete Alley letter also states that, quote, LGBT coaches, fans, and players who attend and or compete at any Big 12 events hosted by BYU would be subject to discrimination since BYU remains exempt from Utah's LGBT non-discrimination law. Moreover, any student athlete who identifies as LGBT and subsequently selects BYU due to its Big 12 membership would be subjected to BYU's unabashed discrimination, end quote. Athlete Alley also accused BYU of not being compliant with Title IX as, quote, an institution that openly discriminates against transgender students, end quote. The letter is co-signed by 24 other advocacy groups. And Johnson said Athlete Alley has not heard back from Bob Bowsley as of Monday evening. And I still think, since he has not responded or says, I don't want to even say anything because I did not see anything yet. Here's my thing. Now, I don't care if someone's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, whatever. That's your choice. Cool. Rock with it. Here's my problem. BYU is a Mormon school, and they have in their stuff that apparently they just, if you express whatever, if you're gay, basically, I'm trying to think of the right words here. If you are, then they have apparently a right to kick you out of school, which is wrong, which is completely wrong. I mean, but at the same time, they also have strict rules that if you drink soda, you can be kicked out of school. Kind of extreme, but that's just how it is. Now, this group that's going after not really the Big 12, but after BYU saying that this and that, we haven't, and this is why the main part was that this was not a specific incident of discrimination. That they're just saying overall. They don't really have, BYU has not done anything for them to be somewhat attacked by this. And I think these several LGBT groups are kind of just wanting to get recognition and their name out there, their 15 seconds of fame, because I don't see why you would go after something like what, the Big 12 possibly adding BYU, why that is such a big deal to you, and you're saying the Big 12's membership values. I mean, we're not really even getting through, because we just had another incident at Baylor where another student athlete was accused of raping another woman. After all of this stuff has happened, then we have another one. So, I mean, and again, that's not really in the issue with the LGBT, but what is the purpose of this? They're not in the Big 12 yet. Most likely still will be admitted to the Big 12. I just feel like this is more of a 15 seconds of fame thing, because, again, there was no specific incident of discrimination. That's the way I feel. Again, I do. It's not attacking the LGBT groups. It's not knocking them down or anything. I think that's great that there is groups that are on the lookout. So if, in case anything does happen, they're ready to step in and help make a change. But at the same time, BYU has a lot of different rules and stuff like that hasn't been changed and won't be changed. So I don't think they should. I mean, I don't see the purpose of this, because I don't see BYU changing anything. That's the main thing. So is this a 15 seconds of fame thing, or are you actually trying to make a change that most likely won't happen? That's all. That's all I want to say. And speaking of Baylor, we talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago. It might have been last week's show, but I feel like I think it was 2 weeks ago. But anyways, we talked about how Art Briles, is he going to coach again? Big question. That's a big question because of what has happened over at Baylor and the reason he's gone. Now, he's been out of football for less than 3 months after the scandal at Baylor led to his departure, but he still has a hard time coming to grips that the season is starting without him on the sidelines. Quote, "I'm dumbfounded and trying to process everything as it goes, but it is what it is. Reality is reality, and so what I've got to do is redefine myself and start a new chapter. And that's what I'm doing." Briles visited Dallas Cowboys training camp on Tuesday and spent time watching practice with owner and general manager Jerry Jones. Now, the Cowboys were the fifth camp Briles has visited this summer as he watched the Los Angeles Rams on Monday. I also saw some of his former players with the Cleveland Browns in Cincinnati, and he went to Cincinnati Bengals and the Tennessee Titans camps. Now, Briles said he will have more of a chance to explain his version of what transpired at Baylor, but he has learned some lessons, which I would hope so. And I don't understand this whole thing of he's going to explain his version. There is only one version, and we've seen what has happened at Baylor. And what has continued to happen even after everything that was going on. Baylor had another player that the coaches knew about, the athletic department knew about, that raped another woman and still let him play football last year. Woo! But of course, the head coach never knows when a personal problem, when a big time crime problem happens at a university, the head coach never knows about his players. But if he misses class, if he misses practice, if he misses something that's going to relate to football, he's going to know. He's on top of it. Come on, Briles. Now, Briles hopes to return to coaching as soon as next season, saying, quote, "I hope November, December, that's the plan. Unfortunately, some job will come open." Never mind. I've never rooted against anybody or any team, but that's the nature of the business. So we'll have to see when that happens. But like I said, it's going to be a new journey, and I'm excited to take it. I really am. Okay. He does not believe the fallout from the scandal will affect his chances of landing a new job. Quote, "Because I know who I am. I know what I've been for 60 years. So people may doubt what you say, but they'll always believe what you do. And I've always lived my life in a righteous manner," end quote. That's right. We're going to probably doubt what you say, but we're going to believe in what you did and what culture you allowed in the locker room and at the university. I mean, I'm not the only one that feels this way. So, I don't know. Now he's got a little bit of backup, though, which is terrible. Now, Briles has a close relationship with the Cowboys. His daughter, Jancy, worked in the team's public relations department for years. How ironic is that? The owner and general manager, Jerry Jones, said Briles has a standing invitation to visit practice whenever he wants, and Jones believes Briles will coach again soon. Quote, "He's a peer with his peers. Certainly, I think he would be a great asset to an organization at any level. He's a football coach. He understands talent and evaluates talent." He also went on to say that he would serve as a reference for Briles if needed, while acknowledging he does not condone the wrongdoings at Baylor. Quote, "I would vouch for him as a person. He's a top quality person. I would want my grandson, if he had a chance, to play for him." Wow. Jerry Jones. Now, Jerry Jones has he has a little bit of a reputation of allowing people who have domestic assaults, sexual assaults, and allowing them to be a part of his organization, as we've seen for not just with Greg Hardy, but several years. You go back all the way since he's been there. Now he's basically allowing a sexual assault enabler in Art Briles to, hey, I'd vouch for him at any school, wherever you want to go. You can put me down as a reference. Man, that's a problem. But I'm going to ask that same question again. And we got some good comments on the video that we posted on YouTube. We had some good comments on there for both sides of whether Art Briles will coach again or if he won't. I'm going to ask it again. Do you believe Art Briles will coach college football again? And when I say again, I should say roughly next season. Do you believe he gets a job by November or December at some program? Do you believe he coaches college football or even high school football, God forbid, sometime soon? Let me know in the comment section down below. And also tweet me at Short Sports Show. Because see, it's a little ridiculous, to be honest with you. Just a little bit. Last bit of news before we take our first break and get on to the NFL. Michigan State defensive lineman Malik McDowell said Monday he would need to be a projected top third pick if he's going to pass up his senior season at East Lansing. The 6'6", 260-pound junior was selected as a first-team All-American by Phil Steele this summer. And most draft analysts, including ESPN's Mel Kiper, have McDowell slated as a top 10 pick if he decides to enter the draft at the end of the year. Quote, top 10 ain't good enough for me. If I'm not top 3, I don't leave. Right now, I'm just living by the day. Right now, it's looking like I'm coming back. That's what I know this far. I'm not thinking that far ahead yet. End quote. Last season, he made 13 tackles for a loss and 4.5 sacks in his first season as a full-time starter. Now, former defensive end Shalik Calhoun, which is one of my favorites in the Oakland Raiders, pretty much had the best draft, I believe, in the 2016 NFL draft. He is with the Oakland Raiders, and he's a mentor of McDowell's. He returned for his final season of eligibility last year, and McDowell didn't say if Calhoun's decision to return had any impact on the way he's approaching the impending decision, but I will say that Malik McDowell is making a smart decision. You know, we all said, and now granted this was a different situation, but you got to think of all possibilities here. We all thought Laremy Tunsil was a top 5 overall pick. Dropped down to 11, 12, somewhere around there with the Miami Dolphins. Now, again, he had a different situation, but again, you have to prepare yourself for all situations. And maybe that's not the best example to give, but I'm sure there have been others where they were projected to be top 10 and end up falling out of the first round completely. So he's making a smart move. It's not being an ego thing saying, if I'm not top 3, I'm not going because anything below that is belittled to me. No. He's saying because he wants to ensure that he is, one, going to obviously get the money to obviously support him and his family, but is in the right situation. You don't want to end up being there and then you drop far below what a lot of people expected you to be at. So I agree with the situation. Even top 3, I agree with it. And Malik Calhoun, and Michigan State saying, all right, either way it's going to look good for us because if he leaves, that means he's projected to be top 3rd, and that means our name's going to be up there and we have a top 3 overall pick in the NFL draft next year. Great for recruiting, especially with their defense and what they've been able to produce year after year. If not, hey, you get them back for another year. That's even better. You're able to recruit certain positions better, and you're able to have a stud defensive end or defensive lineman for another year. That's great. That's absolutely great. So either way, Michigan State's going to be on top of this if Malik McDowell can stay healthy for the 2016 season and beyond. This is good news. Like always, we're going to take our first quick break here. Obviously, show is sponsored by InnerGrind. If you haven't already joined, I do not know why. You must go join InnerGrind. It is awesome. It is the best way to get in the best shape of your life and also lose weight, whatever it might be. They got a plan for you. You don't even have to be in the Houston, Texas area. He still has a plan for you to get healthy for online programs for both nutrition and fitness goals all across the board. Also, support the show on Patreon. We're out there. Come and join the show. We have different plans for you guys. Help me make this my full-time gig. No, really just to, what I really want is an iMac. Not because, it's an iMac, it's an Apple product, blah, blah, blah. No, I want it and I need it so I can start editing and rendering in 4K. That is what I want to do with this show so very badly. That is what I want. And I can also make an entire, what we used to do is the whole hour show, whatever the show might be, and we did a whole video for it. That's what I want to do. Whole show, instead of just having it on YouTube and then you guys are just looking at a blank screen of Spreaker. I want to be able to have a whole video show live as well in 4K. That is my goal. That is what I want to do. So support the show on Patreon if you can. Anything helps. even just sharing a link, sharing Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anything and everything. That helps me out a ton. So again, let's take a first quick break, and I will see you guys, and we'll start talking about some NFL news. Today's show is sponsored by InnerGrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Rakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With personal training classes that start at $40 a session, why not be a part of this rising program? Now, whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with InnerGrind. Not in the Houston area, not a problem. InnerGrind has a program that is personalized just for you. InnerGrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs Derek Johnson, Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, and San Diego Chargers cornerback Craig Mager, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at InnerGrind.com and call 832-475-2829. That's InnerGrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the show, but I want to say first off, thank you for all of your support. Without you, I'd just be some guy talking to a microphone. And I got some amazing news. I recently joined Patreon. And in case you're wondering, Patreon is an amazing way for you to earn some sweet rewards by supporting the Short Sports Show. I promise you, you will love the perks, and your support will help build this show. Go to www.patreon.com/theshortsportshow and view the amazing rewards you would get directly from me to you by donating to the show. The link is in the description, so when you have some time, check it out. And again, thank you for listening and supporting the Short Sports Show. Now back to me rambling on about something. So what a disaster the Pro Football Hall of Fame game was. It didn't even happen. They announced, of course, Monday afternoon that they would only refund the fans who bought tickets for 2 Sundays, canceled the game. It would receive it's whatever. You get a refund, basically. And it was just bad. I mean, the ceremony was great. That was fun. The Brett Favre, Orlando Pace, even Kevin Green, they had some really, really good speeches. But we're all looking forward to the game. Finally, the first Sunday without football where everybody's tweeting, everybody's excited. And then we get some idiot to do a terrible job, multiple idiots actually, to put the wrong paint and to not get that field ready. You had one job. You had one job. You had all spring, all summer. I don't care if there's a concert. Maybe you should have scheduled it beforehand so you had the whole week to get the field prepared. And this isn't the first time. It's coming to people's eyes and ears for the first time. But if you think back, remember last season, and the reason I remember is because D'Angelo Williams of the Steelers tweeted about it, and it reminded me, and with others, that field was pretty bad. Because last year there was a small talk about it, that the field was very, it was rough, it wasn't right. And also, they ended up losing, I believe, a kicker or a punter who ended up tearing a ligament in his knee, out for the whole year. Right? And now you have this, and it's just, come on, guys. You're the first game back. You have all spring and summer to do one job, and that's to get that field ready for one game out of the entire year. And you can't even do that. You can't even get a simple paint job right. Whatever. But let's talk about some positives. Now, the 2016 Pro Football Hall of Fame induction was really great. It was. There's no doubt about it. Brett Favre had a good speech. It went a little bit longer, but I think we all knew it was going to go pretty long. But now it is time to look at the potential of the 2017 class, which I will be there for one reason, and I'm ready. I am ready. So, again, thank you, Brett Favre, Tony Dungy, not really Marvin Harrison. I don't like him. Orlando Pace, Kevin Green, Ken Stabler, Dick Stanfield, and Eddie DeBartolo Jr. You guys were great. But now it's time to talk about the 2017 class, and I'm excited because you see here, you see here, you see there, you see back there. Do I have anything else? Oh, and you see here? I'm a Chargers and TCU fan. That's because of one reason. And it all happened because of one guy. LaDainian Tomlinson. He is going to be eligible for the first time for the NFL Hall of Fame, and I am excited. He will be the first. He will be a guaranteed first ballot. There's no way he does not get in, and that's why I'm going to be there. That is why I'm going to be there. I said it after. I don't exactly know when I said it, but I just knew I was committed to doing it. Whatever it took, I was going to go to the Hall of Fame ceremony and possible game. Might as well could be there for the ceremony. Might as well go for the game because of LaDainian Tomlinson. I was blessed to have the opportunity to meet him and get his autograph on a jersey, which I need to get framed. I have it wrapped up. I just don't have it framed, which I should. And he's by far my favorite player of all time. He's the reason I got into football. He's the reason I love TCU so much. He's the reason I'm a Chargers fan, because right now I would not be a Chargers fan because we'll talk about that later. And I met him once, and I would love to see him on the biggest stage of his career, being inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. But besides LaDainian Tomlinson, there will be several other notable players who will be in the Hall of Fame, who will be eligible for the first time in 2017, but I don't believe any of them will get in their first time, other than LaDainian Tomlinson. You have Brian Dawkins, one of my favorite safeties of all time. Donovan McNabb, which solid quarterback, but, not going to be Hall of Fame. You have Chad Ochocinco Johnson, who's eligible. Remember the time he put on the Hall of Fame jacket and said class of 20, and he had question mark? Could it be 2017? You have Jason Taylor and Hines Ward. But, again, I don't see them getting the call for 2017. Not saying that they won't get in at some point. I believe they will. But not next year. Now, selection rules stipulate that at least 4 people will get inducted each year with a maximum of 8, which it's going to be 8. That's just usually what it is. Now, to be inducted, a finalist must receive 80% of support from the 46-person selection committee. And the 2017 Pro Football Hall of Fame class will be announced on television, of course, Fox Television, special that is set to air February 4th, 2017, a day before Super Bowl 51. So who will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2017? Let's go ahead and go through, because some of the guys, these are just, I believe I picked 5 or 6. 5. I picked 5 that will be selected because, there's going to be the senior electee, and I think what they do also a management guy. I didn't want to go that far. I just wanted to pick the modern era players and one coach. So, in no particular order, these are just kind of guys that I just thought. Kurt Warner, quarterback. Warner will be hoping that third time's a charm in 2017. This guy needs to be in. Although a 2-time NFL MVP was named Hall of Fame finalist during each of the first 2 years of eligibility, he didn't make the cut either time. Now, Warner's story is one of the most incredible tales in NFL history, and that's why I believe it deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. We all know it. Grocery store clerk bagging the groceries. Goes to the AFL, gets his chance, and then on to the NFL Europe, and then becomes part of the greatest show on turf with the NFL Rams, and is the main guy. He deserves to be in. I think he will get it this year, especially with all the media coverage that he gets from being with NFL Network. And just a great guy he is. And his stats, I know he had that rough patch in his career where I think the stat was like 6-22 as a starting quarterback between the early 2000s, right after he was with the Rams, when he was with the Giants, and even with the Cardinals. And then finally, he takes the Cardinals, who before he was there, the Cardinals, historically, worst franchise. Right next to the Cleveland. Even the Cleveland Browns had better success than the Arizona Cardinals. Believe it or not, they did. Then he finally gets there, and then we have that big run, that Super Bowl run. And ever since then, the Cardinals have been, doing this. Now, they might have a little quick dip, but then they're always back up, and look at where the Cardinals are now. Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald, the main things for that. I believe Kurt Warner should be in. Next one, ladies and gentlemen, get your popcorn ready. Canton, Ohio, because Terrell Owens is going to be there. Now, I know people are going to say, whoa. They're going to keep holding him out because all the antics he had is the entire. No. Look at the stats. And I believe there's two reasons. I believe because of the antics, but also Jerry Rice, which has been named as arguably the greatest NFL wide receiver in history. Number one receiver, right? He was first ballot Hall of Fame. He's the only wide receiver in NFL history to be inducted into the Hall of Fame on his first ballot, his first time. I don't think they want to give T.O. that either. So now that this is going to be his second year for T.O., you got to think Chris Carter's in, not as good as T.O. And I think Chris Carter keeps crying, and he kept crying and blaming and victim blaming all his way through to the Hall of Fame. Whatever. Because when he was on ESPN, I'm not in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, whatever. I hate Chris Carter, sorry. Andre Reed, very good. He's in. Tim Brown, he's in. And Marvin Harrison is now in. That leaves Owens, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, and Hines Ward as top receivers that are not in yet. And there's a good chance that one of them is going to be in. And T.O.'s the main guy out of that group. There's no reason. You look at his stats in his 15-year career, 6-time Pro Bowler, racked up 1,078 catches for 15,934 yards, 153 touchdowns. In terms of NFL history, ladies and gentlemen, Owens is 6th all-time in receptions, 3rd all-time in receiving yards, and 2nd all-time in touchdown catches. It's hard to argue against those numbers, especially who the receivers are now in the Hall of Fame. Really, the only way Owens won't be inducted in 2017 is if he does something stupid again, or he actually signs with the NFL team, which I don't see any team signing him. But every offseason, Owens insists that he can still play even though he's 40-something years old. And if he did sign with the team, even just, obviously not a tryout, but if he signs with a contract with the team, practice squad, doesn't matter. It pushes his eligibility for another 5 years. So even like what he did with the Seattle Seahawks when he was there for that short time, if he does that, another 5 years so he's eligible. Eesh. I don't think that happens. Of course, the next guy who will be in is LaDainian Tomlinson. Now, there's also another running back in, Terrell Davis, Denver Broncos. And he's been in there for the past couple years. And this isn't good news because now LT's in. They haven't had 2 running backs in the Hall of Fame. And I believe, of course, I didn't put the stat in. It's been a long time. I think it was in the 70s or 80s when they had 2 running backs inducted at the same time. Maybe they do it this year, but if the committee had to pick between Davis and Tomlinson, you look at the numbers, it's LT. All the way through. If they want to look at Super Bowls, of course, Terrell Davis. But, Tomlinson put together what might go down in NFL history as the best, greatest, all-around season ever by a running back. In 2006, Tomlinson won the league MVP award after scoring an NFL record 31 touchdowns, 28 rushing, and 3 receiving. To put that into context, no player ever has scored over 23 touchdowns in a season, since then, and no other player in NFL history has ever scored 30 touchdowns in a single season. During Tomlinson's NFL record-breaking year, he led the NFL rushing with 1,800 yards. He also had 56 catches and 508 yards receiving. Tomlinson's ability to come out of the back or catch out of the backfield has been one of the best. In 2003, he finished 4th in the NFL. Out of all receivers, all running back, all skill players, he finished 4th in receptions after hauling in 100 passes in 2003. He rushed for over 1,200 yards in 7 straight seasons, was named first team All-Pro 3 times. And again, the biggest edge Davis has over Tomlinson is the fact that he has a Super Bowl MVP award and 2 Super Bowl rings. That's it. During Tomlinson's 11-year career, Tomlinson only played in 2 conference titles and never made it to a Super Bowl. And that wasn't his fault when you think about it, Because if you're going to look, if the argument comes, well, postseason success, check this out. Tomlinson, it wasn't LT's fault when Nate Kading missed the game-winning field goal in overtime in 2004 against the New York Jets. Right? It wasn't LT who fumbled Tom Brady's interception in 2006 that would have won the game. He actually had his best playoff game in that game. He did everything he was supposed to. Yeah, people want to bring up the injuries. He still played through it. In 2006 and 2007 were the best 2 years for the Chargers and their best chance of making the Super Bowl and possibly winning it. 2006, they had the interception, and I forgot if it was Clinton Hart or something Neal or Keel or something like that. Had the interception, decided to keep running with it. All he had to do was slide. Ball pops out. Patriots recover, end up kicking a game-winning field goal. Game over. Chargers lose at home, hosting the New England Patriots. In 2007, and in that 2006 season, that was obviously LT's big year. Best playoff game and best season overall. And also, Chargers were the number 1 seed. That was divisional playoffs. 14-2 record. Go into the next year. They go through. They're 11-5. They win the AFC West. They host the Tennessee Titans. They beat Vince Young and the Titans. Next game, they are on the road against the Indianapolis Colts, who were projected to win that game. Chargers end up losing Phillip Rivers to a torn ACL, which he still played through. Antonio Gates, terrible turf toe. Sean Merriman, torn ACL. 2 other offensive linemen hurt. LT ends up getting hurt in that game. So they had to put in Billy Volek as their backup tight end, and Michael Turner, who obviously became Michael Turner as we know, put them in, and they ended up winning the game. You go on, and then of course they end up facing, as they're injured, they have to go on the road and play at the time undefeated New England Patriots. Phillip Rivers still plays. LT tried to play, didn't work out. Man, that game, I lost it. I broke a remote. Sad. Throwing a fit. I was so sad. The glory days. Anyways, to bring it back to postseason success, I'm making this a little too long here. It's not also that uncommon. Barry Sanders, poor playoff success with Detroit. O.J. Simpson rushed for 49 yards in his only playoff game. The Vikings are 1-4 in the playoffs with Adrian Peterson, who's averaged 3.5 yards per carry and has more memorable fumbles than he does touchdowns. Not everyone can beat Terrell Davis. Even the great Jim Brown, 3.65 yards per carry and 1-3 record. Walter Payton, 2 scores in 9 games, 3.5 yards per carry. Usually weren't effective in playoffs despite winning championships. So what are we going to look at, committee? It's got to be LaDainian Tomlinson. Next one, last 2, Morton Anderson, kicker. We got to add a special teams guy in there, and he was a really good kicker. Played for 25 years. Played for 25 years, and had it finished in the top 10 of field goal percentage 12 years. It's crazy. Last one is a coach, and this one is tough. The fact that Tony Dungy went into the Hall of Fame before Jimmy Johnson and or Don Coryell is disrespectful and just a stupid decision. Now, I love Tony Dungy. I have his book. You guys can see it, The Quiet Strengths, right over there on my bookshelf. And I love Tony Dungy. But you compare his stats to Jimmy Johnson and maybe not Don Coryell, but Don Coryell created the modern passing game that we all knew, right? He was a genius. He's been eligible for the Hall of Fame for a very long time. They have not let him in. Jimmy Johnson, multiple Super Bowls, created a dynasty. Tony Dungy had Peyton Manning, won a Super Bowl, lost multiple playoff games. Yeah, people are going to say he's responsible for the Buccaneers' success and all this other stuff. Well, I say the same thing. Chargers, LT wasn't responsible for losing the games. Still happened. Oh, well. If you compare the 2 careers, you would quickly see that it's not a competition. Jimmy Johnson deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And I believe he will in 2017, which sucks because they're not going to put 2 coaches in. It's a tough call. Jimmy Johnson, Don Coryell, one of them got to get it. Let me know in the comment section who you believe will be in the Hall of Fame class of 2017. Do you agree with the list that I have? Who do you believe will be in? Do you believe T.O. will make it? Do you believe he won't? Do you think Terrell Davis gets in over LaDainian Tomlinson? Do you think Morton Anderson gets in? Who do you believe will be in the Hall of Fame? Let me know in the comment section down below. Follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show. We'll continue to move on through NFL news. And another topic is Joey Bosa's mother took to social media to vent her frustration with the contract dispute with the Chargers. The post was first reported by San Diego Report.com and was later removed. But in a written response to a post from a Facebook user who said he hoped, quote, "It turns out well for your son. I hope it turns out well for your son. Chargers are horrible at stopping the running game," end quote. All right, a fan who's, talking to Joey Bosa's mother on Facebook and commenting. Now, Cheryl Bosa wrote in response to that, quote, "It bums me out for him so much. Wish we pulled an Eli Manning on draft day." Wow. Shot right to everybody, the Chargers fans and organization. I mean, I'm not taking it rough. It's just, damn, not holding back at all. Now, Archie Manning, of course, we all remember, famously said he did not want his son Eli to play for the Chargers when San Diego drafted him number 1 in 2004. And after selecting Eli Manning number 1, the Chargers immediately traded him to the New York Giants for quarterback Phillip Rivers, who New York selected number 4 as a condition of the trade, along with several other picks. We all remember that now. Now, Bosa, selected number 3 by San Diego in this year's draft, remains the only first-round draft pick who has not signed with this team. That's bad because preseason starts this Thursday and onwards. Is the longest a rookie has remained unsigned under a current collective bargaining agreement established in 2011. And Bosa's father, John, was also a holdout as an NFL rookie, which could make him more, convinced to continue to hold out. John Bosa was a defensive lineman drafted number 16 by the Dolphins in 1987 and held out 41 days before signing his rookie contract. Now, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Bosa's camp and the Chargers have not had any contact since the end of July. That's a problem. When Bosa's representation provided a counter-proposal before the start of training camp, the two sides remained at an impasse over offset language and the earlier payment of deferred signing bonus money with no end in sight. Basically, the offset language is they want the signing bonus to get paid faster and in front half, right? That's basically what they want. And the Chargers don't want to do that for some reason. The Chargers have they had until Tuesday to trade his rights if they wanted to, but obviously that was not going to happen, and it didn't happen. So now there's a problem, right? Preseason starts for the Chargers, I believe Friday is what you're seeing on your screen, scrolling by at some point you'll see it. It's a problem. There's a problem here. The Chargers need him. Just get it done. If he wants all of his signing bonus now, or it's quicker or front booked, whatever you want to call it, just give it to him. Just give it to him. We need him. We need him more than he needs us, honestly, because we are so bad at the defensive line. And Chargers are playing hardball. They're saying, nope, you're going to play our rules. You're going to do it how we want it. This is a contract we're going to give you. Don't like it? Continue holding out. Get no money. We'll see how that goes. But damn, Chargers. And Cheryl Bosa, he was savage. I like you. It's ridiculous, though. It really is. It really is. Last bit of things. Case Keenum is going to start for the Rams preseason opener next Saturday against the Cowboys. Head coach Jeff Fisher announced at his Friday press conference. Now, the game will be the Rams' first game in Los Angeles in 20 years. And Fisher apparently doesn't think Goff is ready just yet. However, Goff may still earn the starting job at the start of regular season, even though now I believe we just saw a report that Case Keenum is going to be named the starter for the regular season as well. Now, Case Keenum replaced Nick Foles as the Rams starting quarterback last year and started 5 of the Rams' last 7 games. Played reasonably well. Threw for 4 touchdowns, over 800 yards, and only 1 interception, as the Rams went 3-2 in those games that he started. I am a Case Keenum fan. I like Case Keenum. I've always liked him. Ever since he was at Houston, he had like 6 years of eligibility at Houston. He holds majority of the passing records in college football. He went undrafted, goes to sign with the Houston Texans, back and forth between them, and then he goes to the Rams, and back to Houston, and now back to the Rams. I like Case Keenum. I believe in Case Keenum probably a lot more than a lot of others. I believe he can have success, and I hope he shows. Honestly, for the Rams, it'd be best, even though they gave up a lot to get Jared Goff, the number 1 overall pick, and you're thinking, well, he's really got to start after you gave up so much. True, but it'd be good if he could sit, especially the majority of the season, if Case Keenum can start and do what he can do. I think it's good, Case Keenum, and I think it's kind of projected he was going to start preseason, that they're going to have some other older quarterback start for the preseason and then give Case Keenum, or give Jared Goff his time. Who do you think should be the starting quarterback for the LA Rams? After they gave up so much, should they put Jared Goff number 1? Is it going to be decided in preseason? If both of them are equal, basically, who would you start? Case Keenum or Jared Goff? If the stats were identical, right at it, everything, completion percentage, yards, touchdowns, interceptions, wins. If they both went 2-2, well, I guess Cam would. I guess he could. Yeah, 2-2. What happens? Let me know in the comment section down below. I think they should roll with Case Keenum. Obviously, if Keenum just does terrible, then you throw in Goff. But I'm going to go with Case Keenum. I believe in Case Keenum. I vouch for you. A guy who has been named the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns is RGIII. That has been set in stone. He's been battling Josh McCown for the starting job and now becomes the 25th starting quarterback for the Browns since the franchise returned to the NFL in 1999. And Brian Hoyer is the only one of those quarterbacks who have a record over 500. Ouch. Now, obviously, McCown's future with the Browns is now in doubt. The Dallas Cowboys have been looking for a backup quarterback since Kellen Moore broke his right ankle about 2 weeks ago now. And McCown said it was better for the Browns to decide sooner rather than later who would start. So he might be one his way out too. The Bills have not had a really good offseason. Some good news first. I'll give you the good news first, guys. Sammy Watkins, he passed his physical Monday, returned for the practice field. First time since undergoing surgery this offseason to repair his broken left foot. So he's back. And he also caught a 20-yard touchdown in his first practice. Now, also, Marcel Darius and Kyle Williams are back to practicing. They're ready. They're healthy. They're good to go. Bad news. First started with left tackle Gordy Klin. He was in a walking boot and will miss an undetermined amount of time after injuring his ankle in Saturday's inter-squad scrimmage. So he's out for sure throughout the preseason. It may lead into the first 2 weeks of the regular season. Left guard Richie Incognito left Monday's practice with rib soreness and did not return. A little bit questionable. Sore. Then we also had rookie linebacker Reggie Ragland, who tore partially his ACL tear and is out for the entire season. It has now been reported he is out for the season. He's gone. Give you the exact thing. Yeah, so he's out for the year. And he's going to have surgery, I believe, this week or today. And while Shaq Lawson, he had surgery in the offseason. Who knows if he's going to be ready. So basically we're all talking about the Bills draft, and now we have both first round and second round top linebackers for the Bills having surgery. One is out for sure for the entire year in Reggie Ragland, and Shaq Lawson, who knows how long he's going to be out. But there's good news and bad news for the Browns, or for the Bills right now. Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver Jordan Matthews is expected to miss the first few weeks of training camp. And I believe tight end Zach Ertz, who had a concussion after a hit a few plays before Matthews' injury, spoke out about the several incidents that led veteran offensive players to complain about the hitting in practice, in the contact of practice. Quote, "It needs to be addressed, but it is what it is. I live football. So if that's the situation that happens in a game, we've got to be ready for it. But obviously with Jordan and I getting hurt today, you don't want to see that," end quote. Now, head coach Doug Peterson said that he's been defended in the amount of contact that's been in his practices, saying that football is a contact sport and hitting is the only way to prepare properly. Yes, I agree with the first half. It is a contact sport. I'm not a crybaby, and I understand you got to get hit. You got to hit people. But at the same time, season hasn't even started yet, and you're losing players left and right. What you got to start thinking. Injuries have started added up. You have starting linebacker Michael Kendricks leaving the field Monday's practice. Jason Peters, left tackle Jason Peters, safety Malcolm Jenkins, rookie running back Wendell Smallwood have all missed the past several days of practice. Now Jordan Matthews, and now tight end Zach Ertz. Hello? There's got to be something here. You got to change something. Matthews will miss the preseason opener Thursday night against Tampa Bay. He will also likely miss their August 18th game against Pittsburgh. Peterson said he hoped to have Matthews back in time for the Eagles' third preseason game, August 17th at Indianapolis. The Eagles also might lose offensive lineman Lane Johnson, who signed a 5-year, $52.25 million contract extension in February, is reportedly facing a 10-game suspension for violating NFL PED policy. He's denied it, and he's also appealing the suspension. But in 2014, he was suspended for the first 4 games, and at the time, Johnson said he had taken a prescription medication without checking with the Eagles' medical staff. That medication was on the NFL's list of banned substances. So who knows with him? He's played all 45 games, including a playoff appearance he was eligible for in his 3 seasons with the Eagles. But again, if he is suspended for the first 10 games, he would be eligible to return for the Eagles' November 28th home game against the Green Bay Packers. The Patriots lost defensive end Rob Ninkovich, who tore his triceps in Tuesday's practice with the New Orleans Saints and is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. And sad part about it, not only is he a good player, he's played 125 straight games, including playoffs, since joining the team in 2009. Hasn't missed a game. Sucks. Huge loss. Former NFL quarterback and current ESPN broadcaster Timothy Tebow is actively pursuing a career in professional baseball. His plans to hold a workout for Major League Baseball teams later this month, according to his agents. For almost the past year, Tebow has been training in Arizona and Los Angeles to hone his hitting and fielding skills in a sport he has not played full-time since 2005. But, just like all the old-timers always say, Tebow was an all-state baseball player in Florida that year, and he in high school, and he hit .494 as a junior, helping Nice High School, I hope I said that right, to reach the Final Four of the Florida State playoffs. Tebow, who will turn 29 on Sunday, has notified his current employer, ESPN, of his desire to chase a baseball career, but he will continue to fulfill his broadcast obligations for the network. Now, Tebow apparently had a tryout with the Los Angeles Dodgers, my team, before this season, sources tell ESPN, and the scout was present for the workout. And the team showed interest in Tebow afterward, the source said. Now, a Major League Scouting director told ESPN Jason Stark on Tuesday that 11 years of not playing baseball, nobody can overcome that. And I believe that's true. All 30 MLB teams will be invited to Tebow's workout at the end of the month, an event that he's been preparing for over the past year. Now, those who have not seen Tebow hit have been surprised he picked up the sport so quickly after not playing it since high school. Quote, this may sound like a publicity stunt, but nothing could be further from the truth. I have seen Tim's workouts, and people inside and outside the industry, scouts, executives, players, and fans, will be impressed by his talent. That's what his now CAA baseball agent, Brody Van Wagenen, said in a statement through Tebow's agent. Now, in a reaction to the news, the Schaumburg Boomers, an Illinois-based minor league team, An independent Frontier League announced Tuesday they have offered Tim Tebow a contract. Already. Haven't even seen him. Contract offered. Publicity stunt. Tebow, I love Tim Tebow. I've been a fan of Tim Tebow, and I honestly believe that he could have still played quarterback. I believe he was the best quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Watching that preseason, there was no doubt in my mind. Maybe I was a tiny bit biased, but I tried to remove majority of it, and I believed that Tim Tebow was the best quarterback out of that entire group when he was there in, 2000, feels like forever now. When he was there with Philadelphia Eagles in preseason, I believe he was the best quarterback to run that offense. Chip Kelly, just an idiot. I don't know why he didn't run it, because I thought he was the best. I thought he was the best out of the group. Now, baseball, it's like, come on, Tebow. Now you're really catching the bad rap. Now he's everybody with all the negative people that just don't like him for whatever reason. Now are really loving this. They're like, oh yes, he's gonna fail at baseball. Now we're gonna make all these memes and jokes and all this other stuff all about him. It's gonna be great. And he's feeding right into it. Now, I hope he succeeds in baseball. I hope he can find something in baseball that works for him, but I just don't see it happening. I hope he proves me wrong. I hope I am proved wrong. I hope I have to eat my words, but I just do not see it happening. You haven't played since high school, and you want to try out. Anybody can take BP and feel really good about it. Man, when I was playing baseball, before my freshman year, before I played baseball freshman year, skinny guy, right? I was at the batting cages every single day, every single week that summer. I went from that slow pitch to 85 miles per hour. I was hitting it. Some good, some bad, but I was making contact. That's pretty good, right? Anybody, if you put in that time, anybody can hit that. But it's a different thing when you're actually playing against someone who's not just throwing 85 mile per hour fastballs. They're changing it up on you. Different pitches. Moving inside and coming back out. Going out, coming back in. Up, down, left, right, left corner, right corner. It's completely different. His practices have been PP. That's it. I don't see it happening. I wish Tim Tebow the best, obviously, and I hope he proves me wrong. I just don't see Tim Tebow succeeding in baseball. He needs to just stick to broadcasting, go to politics, or Arena Football League or CFL. I just hit my mic. If he wants to, if he still wants to play football, but looks like he's moving on from football. He wants to go baseball now. I don't know. Come on, Tebow. The Miami Dolphins have signed cornerback Chris Culliver to a 1-year contract. The team announced Wednesday they needed, after cornerback Brent Grimes left. Culliver turns 28 August 17th, and he was released by the Redskins on May 2nd for completing just one season of a 4-year contract he signed with the team in 2015. He tore his ACL and MCL in his right knee during a practice on Thanksgiving Day. He started 6 games before that injury for Washington. A small move, which is pretty interesting. Now, the Los Angeles Rams are part of Hard Knocks, and I wish I had HBO or someone can give me a password to HBO. That'd be awesome so I could watch it. But interesting thing, and it's not really a spoiler because it's already been announced, but Jeff Fisher cut Dion Long after the wide receiver brought a woman into his training camp dorm. Now, Fisher says in there that he tells Long that he's being cut for violating team rules. In the early episode, the coach had told players that he had 2 rules for camp. Be on time and don't have visitors in the room. Damn, man. Couldn't just wait? Couldn't you just go to a hotel? I mean, it pay the $45, $65 and do what you got to do. But he specifically said don't do it. And you did it. And now you're out of a job. Good job. This guy also, Dion Long, a pretty interesting stat if you want to throw it out there. He attended 4 different universities in his time in college for playing football. 4 different universities. Jesus. Mark Sanchez will start at quarterback for the Denver Broncos in the team's preseason opener Thursday night against the Chicago Bears. Immediately after Tuesday's practice, Broncos head coach Gary Kubiak wouldn't say who would start at quarterback in the game, but the Broncos later announced it will be Sanchez. Now, Sanchez and Trevor Simeon will play a quarter against, each play a quarter against the Bears, with rookie Paxton Lynch set to play the second half of the game. Now, in the Broncos' first depth chart of training camp released Monday, Sanchez and Simon were listed as co-number ones. And this really works out for anybody. If this works out for it, it's, if I can find this, Paxton Lynch, I already forgot his name. He's going to play an entire second half. Yeah, sure, it's going to be guys that might not even make it into the NFL. But this is huge for him. Adapting to the NFL game, other than just practices, he's going to be taking on the entire second half. Really good for him. It's going to be really, really good for him. Sanchez and Simon will go at each other, for the first, just playing one quarter, really. This is good for Lynch. Really, stay healthy throughout the preseason. Do your job. You might actually come out on top other than the other two. You never know. That is it for today's show, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. If you're brand new to the show, be sure to subscribe, follow, favorite, review on iTunes. Also, I set up an email. I should have said this at the beginning of the show. I set up an email, shortsportshow@gmail.com. You guys can send your questions, what you would like for me to talk on the show about, anything and everything. Is going to be shortsportshow@gmail.com. And also, don't forget, Fourth and Short debuts this Saturday morning on YouTube only. That is it. Only on YouTube. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I love every single one of you. As always, God first, God bless. And I will see you guys next Wednesday morning. I'm out. Peace.